When 68-year-old billionaire Charles Whitmore woke up with no memory of his fortune, he never expected to find true love with his nurse Eleanor, or that his carefully constructed lie would destroy his family's legacy forever. The morning light filtered through silk curtains as Eleanor Dawson adjusted her nurse's uniform, preparing to meet her new patient. At 65, she'd cared for dozens of wealthy clients, but none like Charles Whitmore, the reclusive 68-year-old shipping magnate who'd reportedly lost his memory in a mysterious boating accident. "Remember, he thinks it's 1995, the butler warned as they approached the master suite of the Newport mansion. "The doctors say his long-term memory is intact, but the last 28 years, gone." Eleanor found Charles sitting by the window, his silver hair catching the sunlight as he examined a vintage pocket watch. Though dressed in simple pajamas, he carried the quiet authority of a man accustomed to power. "Ah, the nurse," he said without turning. "Tell me, what year is it really?" Eleanor froze. "Mr. Whitmore, I was told you. Believe I've forgotten." His chuckle was warm but weary. "Eleanor, was it? I need you to keep pretending I have amnesia. My children think they can steal my company while I'm vulnerable. This charade is the only way to expose them." She hesitated, torn between professional duty and the raw pain in his ice blue eyes. "Why trust me?" "Because you came recommended by the only person I still trust, your late husband. My college roommate." He revealed an old photograph of the three men laughing together. "James said you were the most honest woman he'd ever known." As Eleanor studied the image of her husband, gone these 15 years, tears blurred her vision. The moment shattered when Charles' daughter Victoria burst in, her designer heels clicking like accusations. "Father's resting now," Eleanor said firmly, stepping between them. In that instant, she made her choice to protect this broken man who remembered her past when she'd nearly forgotten it herself. 3 weeks into their arrangement, Eleanor noticed inconsistencies. Charles would forget to act confused about smartphones, then overcorrect by asking absurd questions about newfangled email machines. His nighttime wanderings showed surprising agility for someone supposedly bedridden for months. "You're overdoing it," she murmured one evening as she changed his bandages. "The cook saw you reading yesterday's Wall Street Journal." Charles caught her hand, his touch warm. "Victoria hired a private investigator. If she discovers I'm faking..." A crash from the study interrupted them. They found Charles' son Richard rifling through the safe, documents spilling across the Persian rug. "Looking for something?" Charles asked with perfect Hennessy confusion. Richard's smile didn't reach his cold eyes. "Just securing your assets, father, for your protection." He held up a life insurance policy with Victoria as beneficiary. That night, Eleanor confronted Charles in his private library. "This isn't just about protecting your company, is it? What aren't you telling me?" In the firelight, Charles seemed older than his years. "The boating accident wasn't an accident." He revealed security footage showing Richard tampering with the engine. "If I died, the police would call it mechanical failure." By pretending memory loss, I bought time to gather evidence. Eleanor's hands trembled as she realized the danger. "We need to go to the police." "Not yet." Charles upped her face, his thumb brushing away a tear she hadn't realized she'd shed. "There's something else. When I pretended not to remember you, that was the hardest lie of all." Their moment shattered as an alarm blared. Smoke curled under the door. The east wing was on fire. As Eleanor reached for the phone, Charles stopped her. "No, this is exactly what they want." His eyes held grim determination. "It's time they meet the real Charles Whitmore." The fire revealed more than charred walls. It unveiled decades of hidden resentments. As firefighters doused the flames, Charles gathered his family in the grand hall. Eleanor stood fast at his side. "Enough pretense," Charles declared, his commanding voice silencing the room. Security footage played on the large screen behind him. Richard sabotaging the boat, Victoria forging documents, their cousin Arthur diverting company funds. "You think wealth excuses treachery?" Charles' voice broke as he revealed his late wife's diary, detailing her suspicions about the children's paternity. DNA tests proved none shared his blood. His real heir was Eleanor's grandson, conceived during a youthful romance Charles never knew about. Chaos erupted. Victoria lunged at Eleanor. "You planned this." Richard pulled a hidden pistol. In the struggle, a shot rang out. Charles collapsed, crimson blooming across his chest. As Eleanor applied pressure to the wound, her nursing instincts overriding her panic, Charles whispered, "The safe. Everything's there for you." And the boy. His eyes fluttered closed. Paramedics rushed Charles to surgery. Eleanor, left alone in the mansion with hostile Whitmores, remembered his words. Behind a family portrait, she found a wall safe containing adoption records, stock certificates, and a handwritten will leaving his entire estate to her and her unrecognized grandson. The final document stopped her heart, a love letter from Charles to her, dated weeks before his accident. "My dearest Eleanor, if you're reading this, I've likely failed to protect us both. Know that seeing you again after all these years has been my greatest joy." 7 hours later, Eleanor sat vigil in the queue, Charles' cold hand clasped in hers. Machines beeped rhythmically, counting the moments between life and death. The Whitmore family lurked outside, lawyers already contesting the will. When Charles' eyes fluttered open, Eleanor leaned close. Don't try to speak. You're safe now. Not important. His voice was a rasp. You need to know. That summer before James, I loved you first. He revealed their brief college romance, interrupted when her strict parents sent her away. I didn't know about the baby, our son, until last year. Eleanor's world tilted. The son she'd given up for adoption, the father she'd never named, had been Charles all along. Their grandson, a promising law student, was Charles' true heir. Why didn't you tell me? She whispered. Pride, fear. Charles winced as pain shot through him, but mostly shame that I'd failed you both. Their tender moment shattered as Victoria burst in, brandishing legal papers. Sign over controlling shares or we'll have your nurse arrested for elder abuse. Charles' monitor flatlined as he struggled to rise. Code blue alarms blared. In the chaos, Eleanor made her move. She used Charles' hidden cell phone, the one he'd shown her weeks before, to send a single prearranged message. Within minutes, federal agents swarmed the hospital, arresting the Whitmores for fraud and attempted murder. As doctors revived Charles, Eleanor pressed the love letter to her heart. For the first time since losing James, she dared hope for a future if only Charles survived. 6 months later, autumn leaves swirled around the renovated Whitmore estate as Eleanor walked down the aisle on her grandson's arm. At 66, she never imagined marrying again, certainly not to a billionaire recovering from heart surgery. Yet when Charles turned those ice blue eyes on her, full of love and regret, resistance was impossible. You gave me back my family, Charles whispered as they exchanged vows in the garden where they'd first truly talked. Their guests included Eleanor's nursing colleagues, Charles' few loyal friends, and the grandson who now bore both their names. The reception buzzed with happy murmurs until Victoria appeared, released on bail. This fairy tale won't last, she sneered. He'll tire of you like he did mother. Charles stood tall, no trace of his former weakness. Eleanor is my heart's true legacy. As for you, he nodded to their grandson, who presented Victoria with adoption papers proving she'd been switched at birth. Her real parents were factory workers. You spent your life chasing an inheritance that was never yours. As security escorted Victoria away, Eleanor and Charles danced beneath the stars. Was that necessary? She asked gently. Justice, my love. He spun her carefully, mindful of his healing scars. Now tell me truthfully, would you have stayed if I'd been penniless? Eleanor smiled through tears. I fell for a forgetful old man in pajamas, not a shipping magnate. Their kiss sealed a love story decades in the making, proof that second chances come at any age, and that true legacy isn't measured in fortunes, but in hearts healed and family found.